It's a beautiful Wednesday, September 10th, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and there are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack, match roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And to learn more about their gaming promotions and entertainment options, all you got to do is visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, always a good time. And Ted, we're almost at 30,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Okay, let's get it. I like that.
We're nearly at 29,000 people. We would love to be at 30 by the Texas game. What is that, a month?
Yeah.
Help us out. Help us out. If you watch on YouTube, do us a solid. Just click that subscribe button. It's free. It doesn't do anything. Just click that subscribe button. Come on.
Let's go.
In fact, wherever you consume the podcast, go ahead and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Just do it. We're told it helps us. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about football. Now that we've gotten that out of the way. I want to start here, Ted, before we dive into what you're looking for from OU's defense and what I'm looking for from OU's offense. Everything about this game sets Oklahoma up to play poorly on Saturday. And that's why I'm so excited for this game. I cannot wait to see how this team handles this game, because you're coming off a big emotional win over Michigan. Everyone locally and nationally saying good things about you. Now you got to go on the road for the first time this season. You're going all the way to Philadelphia for an early kickoff in an NFL stadium that's going to be what, like half full, against a team that you beat 51-3 last season. And you've got Auburn coming to Norman next week.
Yep.
Everything about this game screams trap game.
Everything. Auburn next week. You're sandwiched in between two big ones. Yeah, you're right. I mean, this is what people search for when they're looking for upset specials, stuff like that, coming off that big emotional win. You're right. And we've seen it in the past, right? How do you handle success?
And that's why I'm excited to watch him play. That, and I'm just going to be straight up. Temple's a lot better this year.
Not even close.
And it has a lot to do with Casey Keeler, who we interviewed, and you're going to hear that. And once you hear their coach, you're going to go, okay, I get why they are better.
Yeah. I don't know how good they're going to be this year. They're definitely better. Like, you could see it just watching them play, how much better. And they're and you're 2 games in, and who they've played has not been great, but you can tell that it's a well-coached, well-organized, put-together team, and they're going to win there. I don't know how many games they win this year, but he wins everywhere he goes. It's going to happen.
So everything points to this being a letdown game for OU, which is why I'm so excited to see how these players handle it, because, hey, has Brent Venables reached the I've got trained killers phase of his tenure at Oklahoma? That's what I want to see.
Yep.
Can this team ignore all of that and go, we're going to go give Temple our best shot. Here we go.
That's right.
Can't wait to see. So let's dive into the matchup. Ted, what are you watching for from OU's defense against Temple's offense?
Well, first thing is, I think we'd all agree the Oklahoma defense has been really good so far. 2 games in, just gave up the field goal against Illinois State. Had a really nice outing against Michigan. It feels like more guys are coming together. You're getting good depth, good rotation, a bunch of guys affecting the football game. So I love what I've seen. Um, the interesting thing is we haven't really been challenged like we're going to be challenged through the meat and potatoes of the SEC schedule. Illinois State came in, they knew their role. They've got a good football team for the FCS. They're going to be a deep playoff team in in that group. They were just trying to get in here, work on some of their stuff, and get out with taking any big injuries. They played a very conservative game plan. Michigan, we're not going to see an offense that does what Michigan does for the rest of the season. We're going to see offenses like Temple. This is more in line with the style that we're going to see. Tennessee, Ole Miss, Auburn. This is much more in line and similar with what we're going to see. And they've got some good players. They got two backs that I like, Ducker and Worthy, and I think they're great complements to each other. I consider Ducker, he gets the bulk of the carries, a little more of a physical, put together. He's 5'11, 210, 215, got a solid build to him. He's got a ton of experience. He's played a lot of football. He came with Keeler from Sam Houston State, and he does a really good job with them. He's got 29 carries for 215 yards so far through their first two games. Their changeup back, Terez Worthy, this guy's got some wiggle to him. He's really good in the open field, super fast, quick, accelerates quick, and they'll try and get him the ball multiple ways. They got a big tight end, 6'6", 270 pounds. He's their leading receiver so far. They're going to try and get him the football. They like him down the seams, some of the RPO stuff, and the quarterback is off to a really good start for him. Super efficient. He's 27 of 35 for 422 yards right now, 77% completion, 9 touchdowns, no interceptions. He gets the ball out quick. He's accurate. He's athletic enough that they use him in the run game. He can make some plays off schedule, improv, and moving around behind the line of scrimmage. So they've got some solid personnel that you can kind of piece together. Now, line of scrimmage, that's where the massive advantage is going to be. Our defensive line against their offensive line. We have to win that battle to make everything else really difficult to get to. Any other personnel you've seen that has really impressed you with their offense?
Peter Clark is the tight end you're talking about.
Yeah.
And he's a good all-around tight end, but Evan Simon, their quarterback, is going to give him some chances to make plays in one-on-one situations. And so far this season, he has made those plays.
Yep. He's been good.
And so they're going to try to get Clark one-on-one with our backers. I think that's going to be a big piece of what their game plan is offensively. I would say the most noticeable improvement for them offensively is the offensive line. The way that their technique, the way that they come off the football, like the way that they're being coached this season versus a year ago, I think there's been a significant improvement up front. That being said, I do not expect Temple to move us off the rock. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
they are noticeably better up front on offense.
Yep.
When I turned on the tape of their first two games, I went, okay, I kind of like what I'm seeing from this O-line. And I know the competition was what it was, Ted, but I think they've gotten a lot better along the offensive line.
Yep. I totally agree. One of the things that they want to do, and just talking with Coach Keeler, he's great, by the way. Temple's going to win some football games this year, and I feel like that program's going to be on the rise. Keeler's a great coach; he's won everywhere he's been. But offensively, they want to mess with the defense. They want to motion. They want to shift. They want to create some different situations. They're not just going to give you a stagnant picture to let you line up to it. They are going to move you around, make you communicate, make you lock down responsibilities on the fly. Um, and you're going to see a steady dose of that the entire game. And they've been really balanced, and I like what I've seen in the run game. And a lot of it, there's nothing special. They're not going to bring in a bunch of big bodies and try and bowl over you with traditional run game. A lot of RPO stuff, a lot of box counting. Just a steady dose of inside zone, mid zone, split zone, a lot of the stuff that you're going to see throughout the rest of conference plays, really what they lean on. And like I said, with their two backs, you get a little bit of a different vibe between those two guys. Ducker's a little more of a downhill physical guy, and Worthy cutbacks, just a little more wide open type of a player. And like you said, with the offensive line, the way they come off, they're covering guys up, they're getting to the right places. And like I said, it's kind of a well organized, well oiled machine right now on offense. They've put up huge numbers through their first two games, so they're playing with a good pace, a good rhythm, and I think all that helps a lot. If you can stop the run, which really hasn't happened yet for them, and get them off schedule, and start going on attack, changing your look versus them, making them react to what you do. They haven't seen a whole lot of that yet this year. So if you can get them behind the chains and get them out of rhythm, I think you can have a lot of success.
The thing that stands out about their offense is just all the things that are moving when the ball is being snapped.
Yep.
So I think OU's defense is going to be the communication, like the details, like the finer details. I feel like this is the biggest challenge they've seen this season. I don't think it's
Yeah.
close.
Yep.
You got to be on top of all of that stuff. And I know they're going to work it over and over and over again this week of practice, Ted, but there are a lot of moving parts to this Temple offense. And maybe this is the best way to put it. They do a lot of things offensively that I would do if I was an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And they change personnel groupings, ton of shifts, motions, like you mentioned. So OU's defense, while this is clearly not going to be the biggest physical challenge we see this season, this is a challenging prep mentally because of all of the things that Temple does offensively.
Yep.
And that's
right.
exactly what they're going for, right?
That's right. Yep. That's exactly right. It's a little bit closer to kind of what you see with our offense at times. But the passing game, Simon, the quarterback, I've really liked what I've seen from him. Like I said, he's been efficient. He's accurate with the football. He gets it out. I like the RPO stuff that they've done. And one thing that I've noticed is they like the wheel routes, whether it's a wheel route with the tight end, wheel routes with the running backs. They're going to try and attack you vertical with some of those guys by, creating some situations like some cross action, some rub routes, some pick routes, so they can try and create a little bit of space with their guys. And they create that with the eye candy, right? You shift, you motion, you create a lot of movement to where the defensive players don't recognize it. If you go line up in a situation where they see maybe they're going to get picked, it's a little bit easier, but you create those on the fly with movement pre-snap, it's a little bit more difficult for the defense to identify. So you got to be locked in right there. I'm curious to see if we're going to be able to get some pressure on the quarterback with kind of how they move. And it's hard for a defensive line to just pin your ears back and fly off the ball and go get to the quarterback with all the chaos they create pre-snap. So I think a big factor in getting pressure on the quarterback is forcing them into the predictable situations to where, like I said earlier, you're on the attack and they're reacting to you, not the other way around.
I think, and it kind of goes back to what I said about just being really excited to see how this team handles this game because of the circumstances.
Hmm.
That applies to this defensive line.
Yep.
Everybody saying good things about you after you assaulted Michigan at the point of attack. I want to see the same thing in Philadelphia.
Yep.
I want to
You
see
should.
this defensive line absolutely get after this group because all of the eye candy, all that stuff, it really doesn't matter if you just knock guys backwards at the point of attack. You know what I mean? So,
Game becomes very simple whenever you could just run right through the offensive line.
yeah.
Changes the dynamic pretty quickly.
But I haven't really seen anyone for them at receiver that stands out in a significant way,
I agree.
but they really like both of their tight ends and they like both of their backs. So I it's a very well organized offense that but even with that, I think OU's defense needs to get after the Owls offense pretty good. Like that's my expectation. If
Yeah.
you're one of the best defenses in the country, maybe the best, there's a standard you play to, right?
I mean, and you have to understand when we're talking about this and talking about the personnel, we understand like the running backs that you see. I think they're good players. I think they've done a good job for Temple, but they're not the best running backs that you're going to see all year, right? And it's kind of you take that across all the different personnel groupings. Good players, they've done a good job for Temple, but matchup wise, if you just go OU's defensive roster against Temple's offensive roster, you've got a massive advantage, and it needs to look like that on Saturday.
Anything else? OU's defense against the Temple offense.
I think it's about us. How do we respond? How clean are we? How hungry are we after a big win at home with game day? And can we get up early on the road, go play in a quiet stadium and create the same type of energy and atmosphere on the sideline and on the field that we did last Saturday against Michigan? I think that's the real challenge here.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right, let's talk about OU's offense against Temple's defense. But first, taking a road trip this summer? Remember to stop at Love's Travel Stops. You can't miss the heart of the highway, and with the Love's app, you can save big all summer long. You can save 10 cents per gallon on gas and up to 25 cents per gallon on auto diesel. Save with the Love's app this summer and be welcomed by clean places and friendly faces. Certain conditions may apply. See loves.com for details.
It's football time in Oklahoma, and you need beef built like our guys on the field, premium, powerful, and ready to perform. That's Didier Ranch. They're a family ranch right here in Oklahoma, raising and shipping their own beef nationwide. Steak burgers, premium ground beef, and they hand deliver next day to the Oklahoma City metro and surrounding areas. Norman, Moore, Edmond, Yukon, right from their ranch to your doorstep, faster than the Sooner Schooner after a touchdown drive. Premium beef delivered. Visit DidierRanch.com and taste the luxury of tradition.
And we are brought to you by Simple Modern, the Oklahoma-owned company and proud official drinkware partner of the OU Sooners. September in Oklahoma means one thing: OU football is here. And every home game this season will feature exclusive limited edition drinkware drops from Simple Modern. That means brand new designs only available at that game and while supplies last. You can also get $5 off our podcast tumbler with promo code GameDay on simplemodern.com. And with 10% of all profits going to charity, many right here in Oklahoma, every sip supports Oklahomans on and off the field. Simple Modern, good everywhere. All right, things to watch for OU's offense versus Temple's defense. First thing, BYOJ. Bring your own juice, Ted.
Yep.
It's going to be a weird atmosphere there at the link in Philly. It just is. I don't really know what to expect from a crowd standpoint. I know a lot of OU fans that are making the trip
Yeah, you
and making the week.
might have a bunch of OU fans there. Toby said he thinks there's going to be like 10,000 OU fans. Whether or not that happens, I don't know, but they may show up in nice numbers.
Well, we'll see but it's not going to be
No.
like the environments this football team's used to playing in. So you got to bring your own juice. You got to be ready to go from the jump, man. It can't, going back to like, hey, does this team have this killer mentality? You got to be ready to go when that thing gets kicked off. You can't ease into the football game. You got to be able to bring your own energy, bring your own juice. From a structure standpoint, Temple's defense, multiple, can play a 4-2 look. I am expecting them to kind of junk up this game in a lot of three-man front. And I think that's going to be that three-man odd spacing front is going to be something that they go to. And I think when you look at it, you're going to go, wait, why is that backer there? I think they're going to do some odd things from a structural standpoint to try to mess with some of our angles in the run game. And we saw some of that. We saw a lot of three-man front from Illinois State when we struggled to run it efficiently. We even saw some of, some odd spacing stuff from Michigan. And they actually played the run pretty well in the snaps when they jumped into that. So that's my expectation, is that they're going to jump into a lot of that three-man front stuff and try to make things a little gray.
Yeah.
I'm also interested in how much pressure they're going to bring. Michigan really heated us up in the second half. Does Temple look at that and go, oh, okay, yeah, I think we can get in some weird fronts, bring pressure from different places, and see if we can confuse them a little bit. See if we can confuse this O-line that's played one game together
Right.
a little bit. We'll see. But I'm expecting a big dose of three-man front from Temple. And from just a philosophical standpoint in this game, I think they're going to go, hey, let's just not give up the big play. Let's stay on top of everything in the back end, and let's play some red zone roulette. Let's see if once the field is condensed, we can get some stops. That's just my guess of what their mentality is going to be in this game. All right, my favorite players for him defensively. 25 edge, Cameron Stewart. Good player. I like him.
Yeah. He looks the
33.
part.
Yeah, 33 inside backer. Curly Ordonez. He can run. I like him. And then maybe my favorite player on their entire defense is a corner, number 24, Ben Osweke. He's got a corner mentality. He's played a lot of football. I think he's the best guy they've got in the back end of that defense. Moving on to some run game thoughts. Temple actually has solid size at the line of scrimmage. This isn't a team that you look at and you go, oh, that's a really undersized group. Yeah, that may be what you're expecting with, them going 3-9 the last 4 seasons, but their defensive tackles are 310 and 305, and their defensive ends are 280 and 250.
Yep.
So the size is there. With that being said, we've got our 5 established along the offensive line. It's time for this group to start getting better together and finding the core runs that fit them the best. This is a game where you do not want Mateer to have to carry it 15 times. You need to get the core traditional running back run game going, split zone, mid zone, all the counter variations. You want to continue to see those concepts develop and them look even cleaner than they've been looking. So that's really like the run game. That's what I'm looking at. And even though it may not be necessary in this game, I think you got to work on the things that you're going to have success with in the SEC portion of the schedule. And I think spreading teams out and running the ball is going to be this team's path to success on the ground.
Yeah.
I think that's the best strategy. So you got to work on it. You got to go out there and get game reps with it. Whether that's 4 wide receivers and just Canick in the core as a tight end, or it's just getting in some of that, not kind of some of the empty stuff with just Mateer running the ball. I could see some of that as well. But I would like for it to be a game where we're focusing on traditional run game and just getting better at what we believe should be this offensive line's core concepts.
I think there's a lot of things to be excited about with this offense. I think the drop back game has been really good so far. The O-line's protected. Mateer can make the throws. I like the route schemes and what Arbuckle has done in the passing game. The quarterback run is going to be there. We know it's going to be there whenever we need to go to it. But just kind of your traditional run game stuff, like to me, that's like the missing piece. And if that can come around to where we can have some good success running the football without using Mateer, that's really going to make the whole thing open up and make things go. So I'm with you. I would love to see this group of 5 offensive linemen we played against Michigan go out there and move some guys off the ball whenever, you're not adding extra guys to the mix because of the quarterback run.
I know I said I think this team's path to success on the ground is spreading people out. That being said, this is a game where I'd like to see quite a bit of 12 personnel.
Got to continue to develop it.
Got to continue to develop it, and you got to find your second guy at that tight end spot. Whether it's Huggins, Carson Kent, Helms when he comes back from the hand injury, like you got to find, okay, who's going to be that second guy? We know Canick's one of those guys, but they play bare to 12 personnel. They've also shown like some 4-3 structure to 12. I think our gap scheme stuff has looked really good in 12 personnel for the most part. And I would like to see them establish some more zone running game out of 12. And I think that second tight end spot and what that guy, whether it's Huggins or Kent or Helms, can do when it comes to denting the edges on those zone schemes, like that's really, really important for those concepts. So that's something I've got an eye on. One thing that I would like to see, we haven't really gotten many condensed formations this season, bunch alignments, things like that. And I would like to see us get to some of that. Number one, it's just I want to see Michael Fasusi pull on pin pull plays. And when you get in bunch, Ted, that's a great alignment to do that from. So I'm just trying to speak that into existence. But you need to get that stuff on tape. You need to make teams spend time on that, condensing the formations. And honestly, Temple also just kind of lines up weird to some of these condensed formations. There's some big bubbles in the defense where I go, why are they doing that? Mm-hmm. So I'm interested to see if we see any of that from Arbuckle. And then last thing, run game related, is I just want to see Jake Michael cut it loose a little more in the run game. They've got 2 defensive tackles. Hayes, who's listed at 6'2", Morris, number 40, who looks like a fire hydrant, is listed at 6'3". Both of those heights are a lie. I'm telling you. There's no way. These guys, but they are short and they are strong and they're not easy to move. So Michael is going to have to play with good pad level and come off and kind of cut it loose in the run game to get some movement on these guys from Temple. So I'd like to see him come off the rock and have those pads down and start improving that piece of his game.
Yeah, I think also just generally in the run game, you got to remember what Jaden did not practice with this team in the spring, missed the majority of fall camp, didn't hardly touch the ball in week 1. What's he got now? A grand total of like 6 carries, 7 carries on the season. It's going to take him some time to get going. I think this is a good opportunity to get him ingrained in this offense and start having some success. And because I think you probably agree that if we're going to be at our best this year, Jaden has to be a big part of the formula.
No doubt about it. And I would like to see Arbuckle just get him some easy stuff in space.
Yeah.
Swing screens, just get the guy some touches and let him go be an athlete and build some confidence. Like get his mojo back a little bit, if you will.
Yeah, and that's what we haven't seen yet, and that's really his strength. I mean, he does good stuff on the inside and some of that that zone stuff, but whenever he's out in space on the perimeter of defense is when he's at his most dangerous.
Yeah. All right, some pass game thoughts. It's like you read my mind. I would like to see Jay not get involved in the pass game. I think that's a big strength of his. And I think that could make this offense even more dangerous. I I think we're going to get a bit of a mixed bag from a coverage standpoint, but if they are going to try to prevent the big play, well, Mateer, keep attacking the middle of the field the way that you have been. And Keontez Lewis has been that guy that's been excellent at finding the holes in the middle of the zone. If that's the way they're going to play, if they're going to stay on top of everything, I want to see some yards after catch from this wide receiver group. And it's probably more Burks and Satania are the yak guys instead of Lewis. But with what I've seen from Temple's defensive backs on tape, it is not a group that tackles well. That's what I've seen. They are not a group that does a great job of getting the other team on the ground. So I would love to see some of that short stuff that Mateer throws, like those those hitches, those quick outs, like turn these 5-yard catches into 35, 40-yard gains.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, I feel like that's an element of our offense that needs to develop. It's like, hey, let's take some of this simple stuff and let's make it into big plays.
Yeah.
So would love to see that. Now, if the opportunity presents itself from a coverage standpoint, like I do not think Javier Morton, number 15, their safety, he looks the part. I don't think he runs particularly well in the back end. Like if you can get some matchups with Burks on him one-on-one or Satania one-on-one on some of these deeper routes, like if that happens, Mateer has to give those guys a chance because they can both run by him.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess you end up kind of saying you want to see everything, but
yeah, no kidding.
And maybe we don't get a lot of opportunities because maybe they do just try and limit the explosive play and make us march it on them. But we've pushed the ball down the field some, but we still haven't seen really a major effort to attack deep and really open things up and try and go over the top. Haven't seen a whole lot of that yet.
We're not going to see it until we start running the ball more efficiently.
Yep.
All these teams are going to stay in a too high shell and say, okay, because I think, and you'll hear it in the Coach Keeler interview. We asked him, hey, what stands out about OU's offense? And it's like, hey, we think they got a good group of wide receivers.
Yep.
I think a lot of people view Mateer and the receivers as the strength of this team, and they're looking at this offense going, okay, what do we want to give up? Well, hey, if they want to run it and we're sitting in a high shell coverage, I think that's the way that's what defenses are going to do right now until this offense proves, hey, we can run it right at you if you're going to sit back and play deep zone coverage.
Agree. Yep.
It's all connected. It's
Yep.
all connected. I am interested, just kind of random, but Ben Osweke, number 24, their best corner. I wonder if he's going to travel with Burks. We haven't really seen a team do that, like a best corner just travel with him. And 24 seems like the type of guy that would go to a coach and go, I want 4.
Right.
Yeah, last passing game thing, and the stuff I said about Burks and Satania taking, some of the quick throws and turn them into big plays. Apply that to Canick as well. And Canick's been our best guy at that up to this point. But from a wide receiver standpoint, we've seen a ton of Burks, Satania, and Lewis. I would like to see some of the other guys in this game.
I was going to ask you.
We're going with the NFL model up to this point.
Yeah.
Like you're rolling with your starters, like they're playing the vast majority of snaps. And like I would love to see some Elijah Thomas in this game at wide receiver. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I was going to ask, Auburn is looming. I don't know what, because initially a lot of the conversation around Giovanni Gibson was you hope to have him back by Auburn. if not Texas. And if he's on pace, on schedule with his comeback, do you think there's a chance that they just get him out there on the field a handful of times, perhaps to, just to bring him along instead of, okay, it's Auburn week, here you go, or it's Texas week, here you go? Do you think maybe we'll see him just at a limited scale?
I think if he's ready, absolutely, because we know how big of a factor he's going to be when he's ready to go for this team.
Yeah.
So if he's game ready, get the man on the field, wet that beak. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, just a few pass pro thoughts. Cameron Stewart, number 25, one of their edge guys. Out of all the guys we've played up to this point, he has the best go-to pass rush of any guy that this offensive line has played. Now, he's not better overall than the guys from Michigan, but his go-to quick inside move, like he has won on it over and over and over again. And Ted, what did Michael Fasusi get beat with on the one pass pro rep that he lost against
Yeah.
Michigan?
Gave up the inside.
Gave up the inside move, quick inside move. Cameron Stewart is going to go to that a lot. Shut it down, young fella.
Mm-hmm.
Shut it down. That's can't overset this guy. Keep a good inside relationship on 25. Make him go through you. Do not get beat with the inside move by 25. He is not a speed guy that's going to beat you around the corner and bend. Like, no, he is a inside move guy. Got to know your opponent. Got to know who you're playing against.
Yeah, and I think I'm glad that they've got a player like this because, I mean, he looks a lot like the guys that you're going to be blocking in the SEC.
Big, 6'5", 250.
Yeah, good looking player. And I think he is, I mean, he's kind of the perfect guy that you want Fasusi to work against. Should be able to come out of this one, hopefully with some confidence that you can, hold it down really, really good against a guy like this. I mean, it's a good building block type player.
Fasusi proved that he's got the anchor against Michigan's guys, right?
Yep.
I mean, they ran down the middle of him a lot. 25 is not going to do that. So now it's, hey, can I take the proper sets? Can I keep the proper inside relationship? Can I stay balanced? Can I use my hands properly? Like, it's going to be a good test for him in some of these obvious passing situations. Only other pass pro stuff is 3rd and long. They go to like 3 defensive linemen standing up, 2 linebackers standing up, and just a 5 down look. They've also shown 6 up with where they'll bring linebackers over the guards. You got blitzes and twists coming out of it. It's nothing that OU hasn't seen before. Just you're on the road now. Now, I don't know what the crowd noise is going to be like, but you are on the road. Communication between the offensive line and the backs has to be good. Who are we taking? And then who's the back got? Mateer's got to know all of that as well, because if they bring 0, he's got to know the guy he's throwing off or the guy he's got to make miss. And once again, you're on the road for the first time. So you got to sort out all of those pictures and make sure you get it blocked up.
I like it. Yeah. Obviously working through training camp with everything that our defense throws at our offense, you've probably seen about every type of combination of blitz that's going to be out there. So you've got background in it. Now it's time for that group to start getting used to working together with it. Cause I don't know how many reps through training camp or through spring that this specific 5 has played together. Not very many. So I hope we get some of that with them to work on that communication and just start to build that cohesion.
One last pass pro thing. In some of the 3rd and long stuff, they will bring a defensive end and play him at nose. Seiko Chroma, which what an awesome name. Number 0. He's like a 280-pound defensive end. I'm not worried about that matchup with Michaela because I think Michaela's got really good lateral quickness. But our guards, if you get 0 in the interior, do not go for all the head faking and shaking. Do not just Stay calm in your set, get your hands on the guy, end it quickly. You know,
Yep.
that's my thought on that. That's all I got, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it's some pretty straightforward stuff. But whenever you mix in on both sides of the ball, some really good players here and there, the environment, the situation, all of that mixed together, it's a solid test. Now, yeah, you should go handle this team, get the win, and be able to move on. But, I think it's actually the right type of opponent in the right situation, with where we are in the season to clean some stuff up. I'm glad we have this game. Some people are, why are we going to Philadelphia to play Temple in a non-conference game at 11 a.m.? I'm glad we are, because our next true road game is going to be over on the East Coast to play South Carolina in a morning game. So this is a good dress rehearsal for that.
Let's get to call your shot. We asked you guys the number one thing you'll be watching for in OU Temple. This first one comes from Joseph Weiss. He says, we need to run the score up and get the run game outside of Mateer clicking. If we can't hang half 100 and rush for 200 on Temple, it's going to be a long conference schedule. I will be very impressed if we put 50 on this team. Very impressed.
Yeah.
Temple, I know what they looked like a year ago. I think it's important to remind people, like, they're much, much better this season than they were a year ago. Much better.
Yep. I agree. Honestly, it's kind of hard for me to judge like what to expect. We should go win the football game and should really dominate it. But score, that becomes difficult whenever you consider all of the things, how much better they are. The situation like we've talked about. I mean, we're capable of that for sure, especially if we can get the run game going. Things can look easy really quickly.
No doubt about it. This other one comes from at Justice Called. He says, O-line playing personnel, and to see if we really have our five. Temple looks like a way better team than last year. Will Ben let John air out the deep ball? These are the teams you figure out if you have that. I don't want Mateer. I want him to keep taking what the defense gives him.
Agree.
That's what you want to see from your quarterback. You want to see smart, efficient play where, hey, the ball is going where it's supposed to go by what the coverage dictates. Don't force it down the field. Now, if he's got one-on-one matchups, Mateer's going to give his guys chances. We know that. But the last thing I want to see is John Mateer go, oh, I need to get the deep ball going and throw it into double coverage down the field. Like that is not what we want to see. We want to see him continue to play smart football and deliver the ball where it's supposed to go based on what the other team is doing defensively.
Yep. Yeah. Don't throw the deep ball just to throw the deep ball. When you get the look, whenever, like you said, when the running game starts working and they're like, okay, we can't just sit here all day like this. We're going to have to commit some guys. And once that starts happening, you get those one-on-ones on the outside, then that's your opportunity to make them pay.
All right, let's talk to the head coach of the Temple Owls, Casey Keeler. But first,
Schwab Meat has been smoking the highest quality meats, hot dogs, and sausages in OKC since 1912. Go to schwabmeat.com to order any of Schwab's outstanding products and use promo code OKBreakdown for free shipping on orders over $75. Schwab dogs are iconic. I like to keep it simple. Just a bun, dog, mustard, ketchup. Also, the jalapeno cheddar smoked sausage is ridiculous. schwabmeat.com, code OKBreakdown for free shipping on orders over $75. Schwab Meat, the official hot dog of game days.
With ice cold beers, great food, and TVs all around, Pub W is the perfect spot to catch OU football and NFL Sundays. Pub W has been voted best happy hour 3 years in a row and serves brunch Saturday and Sunday mornings until 2 p.m. You can enjoy classics like chicken and waffles and their steak breakfast burrito. as well as unique dishes like the Big Country Benedict, plus brunch berries, mimosas, and espresso martinis. Visit pubdub.com to find a location near you. PubW, good food, good drinks, good people.
Insurica has launched a new digital agency introducing Insurica Direct. Whether you're in Oklahoma or anywhere across the U.S., they've got you covered. From small business insurance and health insurance for your employees to insurance for individuals like home, auto, and even Medicare supplements. Insurica Direct's got it all. Start your journey today at insuricadirect.com. Remember, at Insurica, we specialize in you.
South Oval Lager is the NIL beer, and it's more than just that. It's program beer with pride in every sip. South Oval Lager is brought to you by Bagman Beverages, a collaboration between Skydance Brewing and Red and West. It's made by Sooner fans for Sooner fans. Their mission is to build a brand that tastes like tradition while investing in the future. Every South Oval Lager you drink supports NIL in Oklahoma through donations to the Sooner Club. Find it at Skydance Brewing or at any of their local retail partners across Oklahoma. Email drink@bagmanbeverages.com for more information or visit their website, bagmanbeverages.com. South Oval Lager, it's program beer. It is our pleasure to be joined by the only coach ever to win an FCS national championship at two different schools. He is now the head coach of the Temple Owls, who are coming off a 55-7 win over Howard. Casey Keeler is in the house. Coach,
Hey,
how
guys.
we doing?
Good. It looks like you guys are wearing cherry. That's Temple colors. Appreciate. Oh, Oklahoma. I get it now.
This is podcast
Oh,
merch.
we're
You
playing
want one,
them
Coach?
this week. I get the whole thing. Yeah,
I can bring you one if you promise you'll
That's
wear it.
all
I'll bring you
right.
one.
That's all right.
Well, hey, you guys are off to a hot little start. Your offense been putting up some numbers. I know it's always difficult whenever you have to come in and, you're trying to get your culture and trying to get everything structured around how you want to do it. It looks like it's off to a pretty good start.
Yeah, so I get here and I have no idea what I'm walking into. 3-9, 3-9, 3-9, 3-9. 5 straight losing seasons. I haven't won a bowl game. I think one bowl game in 13 years. At the same time, I understand this place. I was recruited here. Wayne Harden, recruited me. They had filled up. I ended up over at Delaware, played them as a sophomore. They beat the tar out of us. I mean, it was embarrassing. I still remember being in that locker room at Veterans Stadium, and it was a different brand of football. The next year, my Delaware team, we win the national championship. We go, I guess it was 13-1. Our loss was to Temple. So I saw it from that lens. I know Matt Rule. I know Al Golden. I saw what they did here. And so I kind of walked in going, okay, what am I walking into? What I didn't realize was I was going to have a bunch of guys who really love this place. And a lot of guys that decided they weren't going to go in the portal. They want to try to get this thing fixed. And so, my whole recruiting philosophy or my whole mantra in terms of coaching is if this is just business, we're never going to get out of this what we could have. Because if there's a brotherhood here, you're going to be able to thrive in the great times and survive the tough times. And over 9 months, we've really developed a brotherhood. I mean, our kids like each other. There's a great relationship, coaches and coaches, players and players, players and coaches. And I always say that I try to hire great coaches who are better people. And, one of the first things I did was I sat with every player for 4.5 days it took me, and just to hear their stories. And then I put together a staff I thought was really talented, but were really engaged with having relationships with those players. Send them out to dinner. There's some great restaurants here in Philly, some great ones. And, I said 2 rules: no politics, no football. Just find out about each other. And so we start developing these relationships. And then, a bowling night, and then a Phillies game, and then Eagles, and then a community service stuff that we put 3,000 hours in. It's all coming together with the relationships of the players and the coaches, and we're gelling. Also, we had, some more talented kids than I think people thought. And so the roster wasn't, decimated. And I think we did a good job of saying, hey, we're not going to blow this thing up. Let's figure out what we got in the spring. And then let's try to add some pieces after spring ball was over. Instead of walking in, not having a recruiting department together and not really knowing what I'm trying to add because I don't know who I have, I think we were patient, and I think it's all paid off for us. So good start. We're playing well on both sides. We got to get cleaner. Obviously playing, we're going to play big boy football this weekend. And for us to have a chance, we got to play a lot cleaner than we have. We made progress, that week 1 to week 2 sort of thing. We saw that progress, but yeah, to play at the next level, we got to play a lot cleaner.
Coach, I was reading about when you took over there in Philadelphia, and something stood out to me. Typically, when a guy takes over a program that's gone 3-9, 4 seasons in a row, they say things like, "Hey, it's going to take time.
Yeah.
We're going to have to build." That's not what you said at all.
No.
You came out and you said, I want guys that are unrealistic.
Yeah.
We're going to win now." What's behind that mentality and just kind of that attitude that you brought to Temple?
Well, I'll give you a great story. So I take over as the head coach of Delaware. They just had gone 4-6. They hadn't really recruited great. Tubby was at the end of his career. And the president said to me, "Listen, do not talk about winning championships. I mean, you're changing the offense, you're changing the defense. They hadn't recruited great lately. They're 4-6. And in my first press conference, I talk about winning a national championship within the first 5 minutes. And I see our president, a guy named Dr. Roselle, and I see him, doing one of those. And afterwards, he goes, "Coach," he goes, "you disobeyed me within the first 5 minutes of having the job." I said, "Dr. Roselle, there's 80 players in the back of that room. They don't want to hear about rebuilding. They want to hear about what we're doing right now. They don't care about like when they're alums. They want to know what's going to happen during their experience here." And we won the national championship my second year there. And it's the same thing here. When I walked in here, I said, "Guys, if you're realistic, you're at the wrong place. I don't want guys who are realistic." And that's kind of how we're approaching Oklahoma. And it's unrealistic to think we can play with Oklahoma. Well, guess what? Those guys don't play for me. Realistic guys do not play for me. Unrealistic guys play for me. I mean, it's just too much fun to be unrealistic. It's a lot of fun. It really is. Being realistic is boring. Yeah, I mean, that's how I coach. And I'm not afraid to put it out there. I apologize, to the guys. I'm like, listen, sometimes I put a lot of pressure on a program because I am out there saying, this is who we want to be. But you know what? We live one time. I'm not sure about this reincarnation thing. I haven't figured that out yet. But I'm taking one shot at this thing right now, and we're gonna go all in all the time. And that's kind of the mentality. We're all in all the time.
Well, and you've got a bunch of guys that wanted to stay, and that's always a good sign, but they haven't won a lot of football games, and you're 2-0 for the first time. I don't think anyone on your roster has been 2-0 or won back-to-back games. Are you seeing the buy-in that you want?
Yeah, first of all, like I said earlier, the talent level, I think we did a good job. Our strength coach is phenomenal. And like the most improved position that I've seen in my career in a 9-month period has been this offensive line, partly because they're in much better shape. Secondly, I think we have an offensive line coach who has some patience, who's a great teacher, been very positive. And so again, if you look at our roster, we did some change. We added 2 terrific wide receivers, terrific running back. We brought in a transfer quarterback to compete. We brought in some guys in the secondary, but we didn't have a total overall. First of all, we wouldn't have the money to do a total overall. Like Temple was very low in the totem pole in terms of any revenue share at all. We have some now, but we're still in the bottom third of our league in revenue share. But the great thing is these kids, they love going to school here, and there was a strong buy-in. And when you have, guys coming through the office and you're having those conversations, tell me your story and those kind of things, and they say, we want to get this fixed here. We want to stay here. That's pretty powerful. And like I said, I think so far we've made, some good strides.
Let's talk about your team, Coach, and let's start with the offense. Your quarterback, Evan Simon, through 2 games, 77% completion percentage, 422 yards, 9 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That'll do.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Yeah.
What have you seen from him, Coach?
Well, first of all, we brought someone in to compete with Evan. And we told Evan right up front, like, listen, like there's got to be competition here. You have to get better, or we need to get someone that can take us to another level. And you talk about like like you can't write you can't write a script like this for this kind of kid. People would say, nah, it's too corny to say he's that perfect. And I'm not saying Evan's perfect, but boy, you talk about okay, yeah, bring somebody in. Didn't bother him at all. In fact, the very first OTA we had in the summer, because Giovanni didn't get here till the summer, the very first OTA, I look across the field, and there Evan is showing Giovanni some footwork for a pass play. I mean, that's his competition. I mean, they've embraced each other. They're friends. They root each other on. It's genuine. And so Roy blessed to have someone at that quarterback position that I think our coordinator has really done a good job fitting the offense around his skill set. I think we've gotten him better. But also you got a guy who's just such a great teammate. That translates through your whole building. I've had some great ones. I had a kid, Andy Hall, led us to a national championship in 03. He was a 5th-round pick by the Eagles. Like Joe Flacco, Pat Devlin, Eric Schmid, who took us to a national championship at Sam Houston. And when you have a great one in terms of like as a person, and he's battling to get on the field. We going into the first game, we weren't sure who we were even going to start. That's how tight the battle was. And he doesn't, let it drip out into social media or the papers or the locker room. He's like all in, like, hey, I just want to win. I want to be your quarterback, but also I want to win. I think that goes a long way.
Whenever I watch film, I view it. I'm a former linebacker. I view it through that lens. And when I see Ducker, I see a guy that you don't want to tackle for 4 quarters. He is put together.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about him in the running game.
So, he was rookie of the year in the MAC, and then went to Memphis, was actually their leading rusher. They decided to portal and bring somebody in, probably paid him a lot of money, and Duck came to Sam Houston and played for me. And he was the one player we brought with us. And I always say, because all the NFL scouts ask me about him, I say, when you're bringing a player with you, he better check off every box. Because all the guys in the locker room are saying, so that's your standard? That's the standard we have to live up to. That's who you brought with you? So it was important to bring the right guy. Great player, great person. He will block. He will catch the ball in the backfield. He'll do whatever it takes, for this team to be successful. So, yeah, I mean, it's a nice 1-2 punch. Terez Worthy is really dynamic. I mean, he's one of those 22-mile-an-hour GPS kind of guys, maybe even higher. And so he sticks his foot in the ground, and boy, he can be gone. And then you have Duck, who's really good with, yardage after contact. He does a great job of lowering that shoulder, and, he's always getting those extra yards. So, it's been a nice 1-2 punch, those guys.
I really I'm a former offensive lineman coach. I really like the way that your O-line's coming off the ball, especially in the zone run game. And yeah, you got a couple different speeds there at running back, and it was fun to watch as I watched your stuff against Howard. Now, the weapons in the passing game. Peter Clark stands out to me.
Yeah.
Tight end's always open, right? He's a big, physical, kind of do everything tight end that you guys have.
Yeah. So when we get here, we're not sure what we have. He's from England. Didn't really play a lot of football. Went to the NFL Academy over there. Really challenged him. He's 270 pounds now. We challenged him to be a better blocker. You need to be a better blocker. And he's turned into being a pretty good pass catcher too. And Ryder Cush is a redshirted or a early enrollee freshman. And he had a great spring for us. And so we think we have 2 tight ends that when we get in 12 personnel, that you have to respect. So I think we have some weapons. And again, Peter Clark is a guy that has kind of grown on us. Has gotten better and better and better. And, if you look back, some of those spring scrimmages, Peter made some plays. And now it's translated where he's made some big plays for us the first 2 weekends.
Now, I know you've always been a spread guy. I don't know how happy they were whenever you brought that in. What was Delaware was running the old wing T whenever you took over, right? That probably.
I'm the guy who got rid of the Delaware wing T, the Delaware wing T. Yeah. Because it's like the most popular offense in Florida and Georgia, and they go, "You're the guy." Every high school coach would say, "You're the guy." I'm like, yeah. And Tubby, I remember had that conversation with me. He goes, "Listen, I'm making a lot of money on books. I'm making a lot of money on clinics and camps." He goes, we've evolved from the traditional wing T into more of a spread. In fact, actually, Matt Nagy was the quarterback of the 2001 team that really did a great job spreading the field and a lot of different motions and those kind of things than the old wing T. So Matt was the quarterback in 2001. I took over in 2002. Matt was
Well,
actually 2000. 2000 he was.
I see the efficiency is there. You're throwing it well, high completion percentage, obviously in tandem with a really good running game. Like how has your system evolved over the years?
Yeah. So when we were at Sam Houston, we had a very wide open offense, and we couldn't beat James Madison. Couldn't beat North Dakota State. We couldn't beat South Dakota State. Playing with tempo, and they're as good as you are. It's like, yeah, come on, let's go. So I thought we had to reinvent the offense. I wanted something that was going to have more formations, more shifting, more motions. Make a defense think. And so Ryan Carty came in, and Ryan was my offensive coordinator. That's when we went and won the national championship. But I remember telling my AD, I'm like, listen, we just led the nation in scoring. Tim Cramsey was my OC at the time. Tim's now at Memphis. I said, I'm going to change the offense. And he goes, we're changing the offense? And I said, yeah. I said, because we're not going to beat those great teams. Just playing fast ain't going to be enough. We need to have them think. We'll play with tempo at times, but I want to have a shift. I want to have a motion. I want to have an unbalance to balance or vice versa. I want to make the defenses think. And that's when I brought in, Ryan Carty. And Ryan did a great job with us. We won the national championship. Coming into Temple, it's interesting. There's a theme, Temple tough, and it's real now. This is not a place that you could come in and say, hey, we're going to put 5 wide receivers on the field when it's 4th and 1. That will not fly in Philly. And so you need that, mentality that we're going to run the ball first. And that's what, Tyler does. Tyler Walker, our offensive coordinator. He did such a great job at Montana State, running the ball downhill, finding different ways to get the quarterback in the run game. But then you look at it, the efficiency of their passing game was off the charts. That's what he's done here. We will run the ball. But Evan threw 6 touchdowns in the opening game. And it's like, I thought you were a run the ball first. We are. But there's a lot of eye candy. And a lot of things now open up because of us being able to run the football.
Some of the stuff you guys do with guys in motion while the ball is being snapped, which leads to let's go with natural rubs.
Yep.
In the passing game, it's good stuff, Coach.
It's a headache. I mean,
yeah.
my poor defensive staff, they're installing a defense, and like in day 2, we're like in unbalance, and we're 4x1, and then we're stepping down, go to balance, and now there's a shift and a motion, and it's like. But
that's what you got to do in today's day and age of football.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Tyler's philosophy is, I don't want to ever just give him a stagnant picture. I don't want to ever just say, like, here we are. We will throw tempo in there, and tempo is a part of what we do. But, there's always going to be a shift. There's always going to be a motion. There's always going to be an unbalance. There's always going to be a 4x1. There's always going to be a funky formation. There's always going to be a 2 quarterback, on the field at the same time. There's going to be all those kind of things to make a defense think. You want to put the defense in a position where they are making mistakes because they're thinking. I would, a lot of people get very basic against us because, again, all that shifting in motion, it can drive, people crazy. But it's something, again, like after I saw we couldn't just play fast at Sam Houston, we made an evolution. And then getting Tyler here was a big part of what I wanted to do at Temple.
Have you carried the same philosophy defensively that you've had in the past as well, or has that been something that's constantly evolved?
Yeah, it's constantly evolved. I had Skylar Cassidy last year. Remember that name? I was blessed to have Dan Lanning on my staff at Sam in 2014. And it was actually Dan's first time like on the field. He was at Arizona State as an off-field guy. And I saw very quickly how brilliant Dan Lanning was. And does not surprise me. He's, doing what he's doing at Oregon.
Don't talk about that man's budget. Do not talk about that man's budget.
Hey, my man could coach some ball,
No
but
doubt.
also there's a reason why he stayed where he stayed.
No doubt.
There's a reason why he stayed.
No
Um,
doubt.
so I've been blessed to have, and so I saw what Skyler did last year with us, and now he's in North Texas, and so we were very just fundamentally sound, and did such a great job, and so had an opportunity to hire a defensive coordinator, and Brian Smith was available. Brian Smith, 9 years in the NFL, was the DC at Rice, did a phenomenal job at Rice. We actually played them, beat them by 3 scores when I was at Sam Houston, but number of broken plays, number of quarterback got out of the mix and had a receiver downfield, those kind of things. And Brian's come in and really has kind of reinvented what we do defensively. And you'll see a lot of 3-man line to 4-man line and 4-man line. So we're going to give you a lot of looks. And again, it's a lot of eye candy because it's a lot simpler than it actually looks. But from an offensive standpoint, you're looking at guys and saying, why is he lined up there? Why is he doing there? And a lot of it doesn't make sense as you're an offensive coach looking at it. But the defensive guys have figured it out pretty well.
You mentioned 3-man front, 4-man front, playing great defense, all starts up front with a good defensive line. How are you feeling about what you have up front defensively this season, Coach?
Yeah. Well, when you take over 3 and 9, that's one of the first areas you're going to say we're probably not going to be very good in the O-line and D-line. And with the O-line, you can't go find O-linemen. You just can't. It's impossible. In terms of the cost, I mean, there's so many power fours that have their 12th, 13th, 14th offensive linemen making more money than my offensive linemen make. So it's tough to go, get guys out of the portal for your O-line. So we had to develop those guys. We were blessed defensively. There was some talent here on the defensive line. And we added a couple guys, and so we have more depth now. We have like 9 or 10 that will play on Saturday. So for our level, I think our defensive line is pretty damn good. It will be interesting to see how we match up blow for blow with a team like Oklahoma. I anticipate tempo. I think trying to keep us from substituting and try to keep our guys off the field. But that's one of our strengths is definitely the depth of the defensive line.
How about the back 2 levels, backers and secondary? Who are some of the guys people should keep their eye on?
Yeah, so Eric Stort is one of our linebackers, and he made such a huge play in that Massachusetts game where we misaligned and they busted one up our sideline, and he runs the running back down on the 3-yard line, and we get a goal line stand, and then the next play, Duck takes one for 55 yards. The other way, and all of a sudden it goes from them taking the lead 17-14 to us taking the lead 21-10. Those kind of big moments. So we're pretty deep at that linebacker spot, but he's a guy that really stands out. In the back end, Javier Morton has really played well. Was originally an Alabama commit, ended up in Nebraska. Came here, has all the physical tools. So again, we're not void of talent. It's just obviously, this is going to be a step up for us in terms of, playing a power 4, and not only just a power 4 in name, but unbelievable tradition and history, and also a team that has, invested in their football program. They want to win a national championship. They just don't want to be in a conference and say, hey, we're in this conference. It's like, no, we want to win a national championship. And you can see it's a pretty talented team that, had a pretty nice Saturday evening against Michigan.
Let's talk about the matchup you guys have with Oklahoma, Coach. Now, my first question is, when you took the job and you're looking at the schedule, were you like, oh, cool, we're going to play at Oklahoma? And then you went, wait, what? They're coming to us? What was your reaction when you were like, okay, this is awesome. Oklahoma's coming to play us in Philly?
Yeah. No, I mean, again, I knew that they had played at Oklahoma, and I was surprised we were getting a return game. But sometimes that's the way those things work. I'd rather have Penn State, just being total transparent. I'd rather have Pitt. I'd rather have Maryland. I think for us to get Temple football back to where it needs to be, we need more regional competition. And, when we had Penn State in 2015, we had 70,000 out there, so that's where we're going to start moving. Like we picked up Delaware recently. We picked up Rutgers. We're talking to Maryland. To me, if I want to get the fans in the stands, a lot of Penn State alums go to, work with Temple alums. A lot of Merrill alums work with Temple alums. A lot of Syracuse alums work with Temple alums. It just makes for, a way for us to fill a big stadium, that the link is. So, but this is such a neat opportunity because you see a storied program that has made a major commitment to see if they can, get back to where they once were. And it's going to be an unbelievable challenge. So it's not like we're not excited about playing Oklahoma, but just in terms of building a program, I want to start leaning into more of a regional competition.
That makes sense. Well, I mean, you listed off the great quarterbacks that you had a history with. When you view John Mateer at Oklahoma, what do you see?
Yeah, 19 carries. That's what I see. And it's obvious that there's a relationship with the O coordinator and the quarterback. That's his comfort zone. I need to play, putting it in his hands. Obviously, there's a lot of trust there. So super talented. I love his throwing motion. Very accurate, in those mid-range, balls. And what a tremendous athlete. And boy, he put his foot in the ground. And for him to take 19 hits, and you saw him at the end of the game, he didn't seem like he, had any dirt on him. I mean, he got up and just brushed himself off and went and played the next snap. So pretty impressive young man.
Anybody else, and I know it's early in the week, you still got a lot of prep to do, Coach, but anybody else for OU's offense that kind of jumped out to you with the work you guys have done on the game yet?
Well, I think we feel that they have a pretty good set of receivers. Again, I haven't matched up names and numbers and all those kind of things yet. I know they started I think it was a true freshman tackle, O-tackle.
Coach, I'm telling you right now, I like to think I know what I'm talking about when it comes to O-line play, and I like to think I know what it looks like. His ceiling is first tackle off the board.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna be a special player for us.
You couldn't tell that he was a freshman when you're looking at it. Because you're like, okay, they started a true freshman. That's a true freshman. That's the guy. So, yeah, I mean, they're big and physical up front. Quarterback is obviously the guy who makes everything go. I like the receivers. I know they invested in some running backs. Surprised they haven't gotten them going. I think that's one of the things they're going to try doing this weekend is trying to get that run game going with more than just the quarterback. I think they're probably saying to themselves, like, listen, 20 carries a game is probably not going to be advantageous going into the conference and the schedule that we play. We probably want to back that off to maybe 12. So if it's going to be 12, we're going to have to run. We get the running game going with those running backs. So that's what I anticipate. I think we'll see a little bit more of the run game through the running back room more than the quarterback room.
Venables, this is his fourth year, long history as a defensive coordinator, and he's got all his guys now that have been in this system for several years. What have you seen on that side of the ball from Oklahoma?
Yeah. I think there's a reason why he took over, calling the defense, because that's like that. That's what his thing is. And the intensity he brings. And those guys, boy, they run to the ball. They just run to the ball. And so, watching that Michigan game, you're watching a real physical matchup, and you're watching an Oklahoma defense that just runs the ball. So, yeah, I mean, we know what we're walking into, and we're really excited about it because we want that test. We want to see, like, where do we match up? And I mean, I think our kids have a strong belief in each other, and they know this isn't going to be easy. But if they're realistic, why are they here? They're playing for the wrong guy. And so we know it's very unrealistic for us to go beat Oklahoma. And so that's what we want to do, is go beat Oklahoma.
Coach, I've saved the two most important questions for last. Number one, a lot of OU fans going to be making the trip, and everyone wants to know, where do you have to go for a cheesesteak?
Yeah. Fortunately,
give us some unrealistic expectations on cheesesteak.
Well, listen, Richie's on campus is pretty darn good. So that's where I go. But I have tried to refrain from the cheesesteak because,
trying to keep it tight.
I'm an emotional eater, and sometimes those cheesesteaks just go down too easy. But yeah,
pretty polarizing there too. Like,
there's a lot of everyone says stay away from the tourist traps. I mean, so you get a lot of very strong opinions. Nadia, who was just in, getting us all hooked up. She actually worked for John Chaney here as a student. That's how long she's been around. And so she had Bruce Arians, and she had Matt Rule, and had all those guys. And I think she gave you some suggestions on cheesesteak. So I would trust her. She knows her stuff.
Okay. We'll hit those up. Yeah, she had strong opinions.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and then last, but it's undoubtedly the most important question. What do we have to do to get you to bring this look back, man? I mean, what do we got to do, Coach? Look at that. Look at
that's a good look, isn't it?
That's your thing, though. The sunglasses, your thing. I want these back for this game, Coach.
I have sensitive eyes, and so I typically will have sunglasses on. I've gone to more the Ray-Ban look instead of the Terminator look.
But, yeah, I couldn't tell if that was you, Coach, or if that was Schwarzenegger on set of Terminator 2.
Well, in the fourth quarter, they were doing a look-alike thing, and they had a picture of the Terminator, and then also they put my picture up there next to it. And I had a quick smile. I had to turn away real quick because I didn't want them to know that I saw that. But yeah, good times. All good times.
It's great, Coach. Hey, thank you so much for your time. We're making the trip, so we're excited to come see what you're building there at Temple. And best of luck this weekend, Coach.
All right, appreciate you guys. Thank you.
For all of us Sooners, there comes a time when we need help. We need someone to fight for us, and that Sooner is Jeff Marr at the Marr Law Firm. If you are battling cancer or any other life-threatening condition and your insurance carrier is either slow playing or outright denying your treatment, use the law to get the medical care you need. Marr Law Firm believes you shouldn't have to fight your insurance company while also fighting for your life. Go to see Jeff Marr at the Marr Law Firm. They turn victims of insurance bad faith into champions. And 3 things matter in banking: service, service, and service. And First Fidelity Bank's commitment to exceptional service is more than a promise. It's their foundation. FFB has been by your side for over a century, and they are honored to be a part of your journey. Banking isn't about where you've been, it's about where you are headed. Open an account at an award-winning bank today at ffb.com. At First Fidelity Bank, we go where you go. And go to opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED for 10% off our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED. Buttery soft and 10% off. All right, time to preview the best games of week 3 in college football. And Ted, we got some good ones, baby.
SEC schedule's kicking up this week. We got some action, man. There's some good games out there.
Let's start in Knoxville. Number 6, Georgia travels to take on number 15, Tennessee. This will be the 2:30 ABC game. Georgia, currently a 3.5-point favorite, which that line opened significantly bigger than that.
Yeah, it was close to a touchdown when it opened.
So very, very interesting. And Tennessee has lost 8 in a row to Georgia. 8.
Wow.
All 8 have been by double digits. But you've got this suspiciously small spread. Any reason to think this is the year the streak ends?
I think Tennessee wins the football game.
Whoa!
I could be wrong on that. I haven't seen a whole lot of either team other than just kind of highlights and scanning through some games. I haven't really sat down and done a deep dive, but I think that Tennessee's better than I thought they were going to be so far. Wasn't sure with the quarterback situation. I think Aguilar's looked pretty good so far. And I think Georgia's level just keeps ticking down a little bit closer to the main group in the SEC. I mean, there is not a standalone, dominant, better than everyone else team in the SEC this year, at least that I've seen up to this point. Georgia's having some struggles running the football. How much of it is them just trying to work on some conventional stuff so far with what they've done, or how much is it real issues there? I'm not
How,
sure, but
how much of it is teams not respecting Gunnar Stockton in that passing game, you know?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just I just don't think the separation with Georgia is there. I think Tennessee, with what happened through the spring and how they've looked so far, they've got some really good momentum. I think the fan base probably smells some blood in the water with Georgia. Like maybe this is our year. I think the football team is in a really good place, and they've got some mojo going. They've got good momentum. I just think that Georgia doesn't have enough to just be the default answer anymore in the SEC, and that could end up being proven wrong. They go in there and smack Tennessee like they typically have. Well, then maybe I'll say, well, okay, I underestimated them. They are a typical Georgia team. We'll see.
We'll see. I feel like the only thing we know for certain in this game is it is going to be an electric atmosphere at Neyland.
It's going to be great.
That,
It is.
that's about all we know. And that Tennessee defense worries me, man. It feels like they've taken a big step back from a year ago, but on the other side of things, like I don't know if Gunnar Stockton and that Georgia offense are good enough to really exploit them, because that Georgia offense hasn't exactly lit it up against Marshall and Austin P.
Nope. Nope.
So
That's what I'm wondering. Like, have they not lit it up because they're working on some core things and they're really trying to iron that stuff out, or do they not have that extra gear?
that's a great question. I could see Tennessee saying, "Hey, we're going to load up on the run, and Gunnar Stockton, if you can beat us, here you go." Now they got guys at wide receiver, man, like Zachariah Branch, Colby Young. Like these guys are really good players. They got two good tight ends. And remember last year in this game, Oscar Delp scored 2 touchdowns. Like he was really effective in the middle of the field. But I feel like out of all the units in this game, I still lean towards trusting Kirby Smart and Georgia's defense the most. Like if all of a sudden Joey Aguilar is throwing bombs down the field and Tennessee's wide receivers are running by Georgia's defensive backs, I'm going to be surprised, you know?
I agree. And I think the trend is going to continue across the entire conference most of this season. I think it's going to be a much lower scoring year than we've seen, maybe over the past. There's a bunch of really good defenses, and I feel like there's a lot of offenses that are in transition, and I expect this one to be a fairly low scoring game.
So you've got Tennessee.
I'm taking Tennessee.
You know me, Ted, I'm a vibes guy. And I feel like the vibes are really good for Tennessee in this game. Like Joey Aguilar has looked really solid. Feel like they're better than a lot of people thought they were going to be. But not even the good vibes can prevent me from picking Georgia to win and cover this game.
They've
I don't
earned
know.
that, man. They've earned that. When you don't know, you take Georgia, right? I mean,
I feel like they still have that respect from me. Bama no longer has that respect from me. Whether that's right or wrong. Like Georgia, I still have that when in doubt, yeah, let me lay the points with the dogs. You know what I'm saying?
they've had some performances where you look at Georgia and you say, man, do they still have it? But the thing is, they still win those games. They're still winning those.
So I think that Georgia defense controls the game for the most part. That puts Gunnar Stockton in the Georgia offense in good spots, and they get it done, which I would love to see Hype get this win. Like that's our guy. I would love to see Josh Heupel in this streak and watch that place go crazy, but I don't think Tennessee is nearly as good as they were a year ago. But the vibes are better. The vibes feel better. So I don't know. It's confusing for me, but I like Georgia to, go win on the road by a touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that a lot of it, like for Tennessee, if they can find a way to get up on Georgia and play with a lead in their stadium, I think that could help them a lot because what is Georgia's ability to come back with Stockton at quarterback? I mean, that's something we're going to have to find out.
And that place will be breathing fire if they get out
It
to
will.
an early lead. I'm
Yep.
very excited for that football game. All right, moving on to South Bend. Number 16, Texas A&M travels to take on the number 8 Notre Dame Fighting Irish. This will be 6:30 on NBC. Currently, Notre Dame a 6.5-point favorite. And it's pretty interesting, Ted, because Notre Dame's an 0-1 football team. They lost to Miami in a great game in the opener, and they got a bye week, so they've had 2 weeks to prepare for A&M, and it feels like a must win for Marcus Freeman and the Irish if they want to accomplish their goals this season. Like the goal is they be a playoff team. This feels very, very important for Notre Dame if they want to be a playoff team.
Yeah. I think A&M might be the better team, like especially on the line of scrimmage.
A&M's defense has underwhelmed in the first couple of games. If they had looked better in their first couple of games, without hesitation, I'd be like, give me A&M plus 6.5. No doubt about it. But they haven't looked the way that I expected them to look under Mike Elko in year 2.
Yeah.
So it's a tough one. I am maybe shocked. I'm very, very surprised this spread is as big as it is. Like this is more like a -3.5 game for me.
I feel like it is a line for last year's Notre Dame team playing Texas A&M.
That's how it feels. I think that's a great point.
And that's kind of why I think A&M goes and wins the game is because this is not last year's Notre Dame team. They're not the same football team on the line of scrimmage. They offensive line, they're working through some stuff. They've lost a lot of experience all over that football team. I'm still not sure about Notre Dame at quarterback. Just sense some weakness there. And, it's very difficult to take A&M to go win a big game on the road. Okay. That has not been something that they've been able to go pull off with any type of consistency. But I kind of like the fact that A&M's it's been quiet. They're not in the headlines every week. I think that's actually good for this team. And, I really like Elko and his system on defense. I know they haven't really hit their full stride yet, but my guess is, there's some games in the offseason that you really spend time in the lab on. And I think this is one of those for Texas A&M to try and, they could get a win. This could really springboard them into conference play. Give me Texas A&M.
I'm with you. I'm taking A&M plus 6.5. It's too many points, man. So I am.
Again, I think this is going to be another really low scoring game.
I'm with you. And the biggest difference between Notre Dame a year ago and this season for me is I do not think they're nearly as good along the offensive line. So if A&M's defense can slow down Jeremiah Love the way that Miami did and make CJ Carr drop back in predictable situations, like you mentioned, Ted, I think Elko's going to have some stuff for the young quarterback.
I do too.
But if they can run it efficiently and stay on schedule, they're at home. I don't know. This is one of those games where I go, I'm not really sure what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
It's one of those classic, this game's going to come down to field goal kicking, isn't it? Type of games.
Probably so. Yeah. We're still in that window at the beginning of the season where you're still not sure what to make of different teams. And, we haven't seen much of Notre Dame. A&M's kind of flown under the radar. So big measuring stick game for both these teams.
I'm not sure if it matters, but it's probably important to note that this is Notre Dame's home opener. Marcus Freeman is 1-2 with losses to Marshall and Northern Illinois in home openers.
Ooh, man.
So Texas A&M is a little better than those teams. I don't, hey, past performance does not predict the future. That's not how this works, but it's just an interesting note. One thing to keep an eye on, Marcel Reed got banged up late in their game a week ago. Everything I've seen is that he's fine and he's going to be ready to go. But if he is hobbled at all, like his mobility is a big part of what he does and what they do offensively under Colin Klein. So that's certainly something to watch for early, but I think it's going to be a really close football game. So I'm taking the 6.5 with A&M.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good pick. I think it'll be inside the 6.5, but I think Texas A&M is going to win it. I'm not a believer in Notre Dame right now, but like I said again, I still developing what I think of a bunch of these teams, and this is one where it's going to sway my opinion one way or the other on both of these teams.
Okay, I'm going to let you pick our last game here. And this is how I'll frame it. Which game do you think will be more competitive? South Florida at Miami or Florida at LSU?
See, I am in such a weird spot right now because everything in the world tells you that LSU is just going to stomp Florida, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Florida is going to show up and give them something in Baton Rouge, but I'm kind of more interested if South Florida could go keep it rolling against Miami.
I'm definitely interested in both. I'm more interested in Florida at LSU for sure, but the South Florida Miami game, I would not touch that game with a 10-foot pole, man. Miami is currently a 17.5-point favorite. I want no part of that game. I kind of feel like the magical start to the season for the Bulls is going to come to the end because I think Miami's really talented at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
But undoubtedly, we will be monitoring that one. The halftime score will be very interesting. If that thing's close, everyone's flipping over to that game, like everyone.
I say I'm more like the LSU Florida game. That's the one that you watch all the way through, really, no matter what. But the South Florida Miami game is the one where if it's close, like you got a big rooting interest in it, and you jump on the bandwagon at halftime and see if they can finish the job.
But Florida at LSU, Florida at number 3 LSU, 6:30 kick on ABC. LSU currently a 7.5-point favorite. I think yesterday it was 8.5. So I guess it's a great bounce back opportunity for Florida after the disastrous loss to USF.
Yeah.
But Death Valley at night is not exactly the circumstances that you're looking for to bounce back.
A lot of truth to that. I'm probably doing a dumb thing here where I'm kind of questioning LSU. LSU is typically not a team that starts hot. They're a team that gets better and better and better. They catch momentum, and they're going to be really good by the end of the year. Florida getting beat by South Florida takes some of the steam away from this game. And I know LSU's coached well, and they're talented. Like their defense in that game against Clemson played really well. They didn't look as good last week. And with how Clemson didn't look very good, I guess the win against Clemson looked fantastic originally, and now I'm kind of second guessing like, uh, okay, where's the level really of both of these football teams right now? I think they're both eventually going to be really good. Um, I Because of the loss to South Florida, like if Florida has anything to them at all, like a lot of people predicted, with their offensive line, with their run game, Lagway is going to get better and better. The guy hadn't played all off season, missed so much time, so his level's going to improve. I actually think it's going to be another close, low scoring football game.
I'm with you on that. It is one of these situations where the Florida loss to USF somehow in a weird way puts more pressure on LSU in this game.
That's kind of what I'm saying.
You can't be the team that loses to the team that lost to USF.
Right.
At home at night. So does that allow Florida to kind of show up and go, all right, what do we have to lose other than our coach losing his job, maybe,
Yeah. Right.
But the LSU defense earned a ton of respect with the way that they played, especially in that second half against Clemson. And the Florida's run game is solid. Just Lagway hasn't looked very sharp. And let's be real, like the guys around him haven't helped him out a ton.
Right.
There's been some competitive situations like where I'm watching go, hey, dude, catch the ball. But I think Florida's walking into a bad situation, man. I really do. I think LSU has the better quarterback. I think LSU has the better defense. And I think LSU's got better vibes right now. I think the spread is too big. Like my favorite bet for this game would be the under.
Yeah.
Because I'm with you. I think it's going to be a low-scoring, competitive game where maybe more of a defensively driven game than people think. But I have a hard time seeing Florida going into Death Valley at night and winning this game.
Yeah. With all the noise around Florida after that loss, I feel like they desperately need a good start to this football game. If LSU goes right down the field and scores, forces a 3-and-out, forces a turnover, and gets more like, I kind of wonder where is Florida a fragile football team right now to where if things don't go good early on them, they check out a little bit. I don't know.
When I originally put the rundown together, the total was 54.5. It is now down to 48.5. So I'm not sure I love the under anymore, but I'm expecting whoever wins this game to be kind of like in the mid-low 20s.
Yeah, I agree.
That's kind of the game. And one important thing to note for Florida's defense is I think they're getting Caleb Banks back for this game. He's not played for him up to this point. A lot of people have him as the number one defensive tackle coming off the board in the next NFL draft. He's a big piece for that Florida defense. And LSU center got hurt last week. So that formula could really help Florida defensively. If you got maybe the best defensive tackle in the country going against a backup center for you. So I think what if LSU just blows the doors off them and the Florida Gators just enter the pit of misery?
That is, I mean, I think the most likely scenario is a pretty competitive, low scoring football game. The next most likely scenario, I think, is that LSU jumps on them early and then just continues to separate. Like that's kind of the next thing that wouldn't surprise you. And then then you get to a really close football game, and then you get to Florida, finding a way to come up with the upset. But I think the first half of this game is going to tell the story, and maybe even the first quarter.
Give me LSU -7.5. Here's my reasoning. Do I trust a Billy Napier football team to have all of the details so sharp to go on the road in an insane environment against a really good football team and play a really competitive game and maybe win the thing? The answer to that is no. I do not. I do not trust him. I do not trust him to have that team sharp enough in all the areas that it'll take for them to go win this thing. And mistakes have been, it's just been part of what Florida has been over the last several years under him. So,
I mean, when you think about it, it's like LSU's number 3 in the country right now.
And I know they beat him a year ago. I don't care.
Don't you feel like, though, given all the circumstances, that this would be the biggest win for Napier at Florida since he's been there? They've had some big ones, I guess, but
the wins that they rattled off for him to save his job last year those were significant. Those are his biggest wins.
Yeah.
This could be the loss. This could be if they go to Death Valley and get dismantled and embarrassed, this could be the one where, who's the interim coach?
That's kind of, I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, given the circumstances, if they were able to go on the road and beat number 3 LSU, I feel like that maybe be the biggest win that they've been able to pull off. And to think that they're in the position or in the shape as a football team to go do that right now with where Lagway's at, and that seems very difficult to imagine.
So you've got Florida.
I'll take is it 7.5 now?
7.5 currently.
I'll take Florida in the 7.5.
Okay.
Just
on opposite sides. I like it.
I don't know. I'm liking a bunch of underdogs this week for whatever.
Good for you. You're just an underdog guy. Good for you.
Yep.
All right, let's finish up with our winners and losers of the week. But first, the Ridge Power Bank has changed my life. Before I got mine, when I traveled, so many chargers and so many cords with all the chargers. Well, those days are over for me because just like Ridge revolutionized the wallet, Ridge has now changed the game for portable charging. Go to ridge.com and use code OKBreakdown for 10% off on a Ridge Power Bank. Ridge's 5-in-1 travel power bank has built-in cables, and it lets you charge all your devices at the same time with one power bank and no extra cables. MagSafe Wireless, Apple Watch, Lightning, USB-C, it's got it all. And like everything Ridge makes, it's built to last. With free shipping, a 99-day risk-free trial, and a lifetime warranty. This is the last power bank you'll ever need. One thing to pack, 5 ways to power. You can find Ridge's Power Bank at Best Buy, or our listeners can get 10% off at ridge.com by using code OKBreakdown at checkout. Just head to ridge.com and use code OKBreakdown, and you're all set. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Tushy is the everyday luxury bidet that instantly transforms your bathroom habits and bottom health for life. I'm a bidet guy, and you should be too. They make your butt cleaner. Why would anyone not want to have a super clean butt? A Tushy bidet will help you have a super clean butt. In fact, 99% of people who wash with Tushy Wave feel cleaner and fresher after going to the bathroom. If you're thinking, I don't want to have the extra plumbing done, good news. Every Tushy bidet easily attaches to your existing toilet without the need for additional plumbing. And it gets better. You can install it yourself. It's easy and takes about 10 minutes. Believe me, I know. I installed the one that they sent me myself. And if I can do it, I promise you, you can do it. And you spend less money on toilet paper. Just try it. Just try it. Remember, a-hole is only a dirty word if you wipe. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off their first bidet order when you use code OKBreakdown at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com with promo code OKBreakdown. All right, Ted, as always, Who do you have? Wait, what do I say here? As always, kick us off. That's what I say. As
Yep.
always, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
Got to go with my guy, Aaron Rodgers.
Mm.
He's too old. He can't play. Showing up late to Pittsburgh. Not so fast. Goes out, rips 4 touchdowns against the Jets. He took a lot of pride and got a lot out of going and beating the Jets. Look out. If they could find that with some consistency and their defense can come around a little bit more, which I think they will, the Steelers may have a little something here. And you know me, I'll be watching Aaron Rodgers no matter what. So I love that. I thought that was awesome.
For those of you that maybe are new to the podcast, Ted is an Aaron Rodgers guy.
Right.
So you're going to get a lot of Rodgers content here in Winners and Losers during the football season. 22 at 30, 244, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Yeah, that'll work.
That'll do.
The only thing, I watched a lot of that game, the mobility is gone.
Yeah.
And that was one of the pieces where that made him one of the best ever.
No doubt.
It's gone, which is not uncommon for a guy in his 40s that is still playing football. Coming off an Achilles, you know?
Like that Achilles is never going to be back whenever
Right.
you tear an Achilles at that age. Like getting back to your old self is a long past dream, but the guy can absolutely still get it done from the pocket. And you know,
Some of those throws,
dude,
that man can spin it, dude. It's so fun to his best throws, maybe the best throws to watch. Like just the things you're just like, dang, dude, how'd he put it there?
I think there's a lot of good quarterback play in the NFL, but I it's not talked about enough how good Aaron Rodgers at his best whenever he was still had all his mobility. I think he's the best to play the position ever. But I'm a Rodgers guy, so there you go.
His lack of mobility, I think, is ultimately what is preventing me from putting the Steelers on what I would say is like, hey, true competitor in the NFL, like true, like title contender. I just think when you look at the other quarterbacks of the best teams, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, like Jaden Daniels, like these dudes can move.
You better
And
have
that
the best offensive line in the NFL, and I think Pittsburgh. It's the best offensive line Aaron Rodgers has played behind in quite a while. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
But even like Baker's the reason they were able to win that game was Baker was able to use his legs and then deliver throws down the field, like make things happen because of his mobility.
Yep. Very.
Rodgers not having that is a big, I in my mind, is a big issue when the other best teams in the league have those type of guys.
Yeah. Yep. We'll see. I mean, he's got some targets to throw to. Metcalf had a nice day. We'll see. But for that one, that was fun. That was fun to get a little throwback, Aaron Rodgers.
There's some Philadelphia Eagles fans screaming, "What about Hurts?" Yes, Jalen Hurts, also very mobile. All right, who do you have as your loser of the week?
I had to go with the AP poll, taking some heat this week with some of the voting and stuff out there, and it not so much want to like sit here and beat down how the AP does it. I really just want to ask you, is there a better way to do it, and how would you do it if there is?
The woman that, what's her name, like Haley Sawyer or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
That bumped Florida up a couple of spots after they lost to USF. I think the problem was she just didn't admit that she made a mistake, and that's why she's taking so much heat. She did that interview, and I was like, oh, I don't want to get too much into my process, but I was like, If you're bumping a team up 2 spots after they lose, your process is wrong.
You don't have a process.
You don't have a problem. Just say, hey, I made a mistake. I didn't catch the score of that game. I figured Florida won. Like, that happens. I There's definitely a better way to do it, but they've been doing it this way for so long that I just don't. Is it ever going to change? Because I feel it's very similar to the way I feel about the college football playoff committee. The people on the college football playoff committee, all those athletic directors, are way too busy to watch all these games and know what's going on.
Right.
I feel the same about a lot of AP voters, like that are covering a team till midnight, and then they're expected to turn in a ballot the next month. It's like, it's not fair to a lot of the people. I would like for the poll, like the go-to poll, to be a group of people whose sole job it is to be AP poll voters. This is a gajillion-dollar sport now. Yep. You can get a collection of 20 people that are responsible for ranking the teams, and that are really, really dialed into it, and they're using analytics and all this stuff. Like that doesn't seem too hard.
Some type of combination of like
recruiting people, football people, Bill Conley, and the way that him and the nerds do things, like combine it all with the group of people. I think that's easily accomplished.
The strange thing about it is it's something that in college football, like in the NFL, you have your power rankings and stuff like that, but you just go off of what everyone's record is, right? For how things are decided. The college football playoff and college football fans in general, like the AP poll is kind of the gospel. That's what you go to. And when you peel back the curtain and you're like, hang on a second, how are we actually getting to this? You're not very impressed with the process. So it's a weird, like, this is everything for college football. It's how the sport operates, but how much is really put into coming up with those rankings?
I thought the most alarming thing I think her name's Haley Sawyer. I'm pretty sure that's right. In the interview, wasn't that, I don't want to go into my process that much. She basically said something to the effect of, does it really matter? You can't have people voting in the AP poll that have that attitude. You just can't.
Right.
Like, it needs to matter. Like the people that are, because that stuff matters to football programs. It's big for recruiting. It's big for everything.
Well, yeah, it may not matter, but at the end of the season, whenever you're comparing resumes, it matters because, like, you have top 20, you have a top 10 win, you have a top 15 win, you have a top 25 win. That's used to bolster your resume. And if there's not really anything of substance behind ranking teams a certain way, well, does your top 15, is it really a better win than someone else's top 20 win? Or, like, if those rankings don't mean anything, well, you start to see a bunch of holes in what's happening there.
I would like to see college football, with how big of a business this thing has become. Like, rankings matter, whether people want to acknowledge that they do or not. They do. And I would like for them to develop, something like a football experts poll, the FEP, or ball knowers poll, the BYP, BKP, BKP. Knower starts with the K. And that would be, you take in and take all kinds of different things into account, like roster, recruiting, betting odds,
injury,
like all kinds of all the analytical stuff. Like, and you just combine it, and you have a group of people whose sole focus is, okay, let's put out the most accurate poll possible. I feel like that's what this sport deserves. And you can't have people voting in that go, oh, at the end of the day, does it really matter? There's so many votes. Everything kind of works out. Like, no, I want people that are taking this very seriously.
You either have to find a select group that is very detailed and very process driven and looks at all the factors, or you have to throw mass numbers at it. I feel like whenever you just crowdsource it, I guess for lack of a better term, you end up coming to the right answer. It's kind of how like the lines work in gambling, right? Like the more numbers you throw at something, the closer you get to the actual, outcome. So I don't know. It's one of those things that one of the biggest sports in the world, definitely like number two. College football's number two in the United States, right? I mean, I don't know where everything else actually ranks, but
yeah,
it feels
9.7
like,
million people watched OU Michigan. Yeah.
right. It's so whenever you feel like you've got this massive sport, multi-billion-dollar industry, and you look at how the rankings go, which is how the sport is, like, to a large degree how you decide your champion. Like, I know you have the playoff committee, but they go off the AP poll all year about who's beating who and what they were ranked when they beat whether the other team was ranked. It's strange that this machine operates on that system. So I don't know.
I don't think anyone's more upset with Haley Sawyer than some of the other AP voters that take it very, very seriously.
Yeah.
And take it like as an honor that they get to vote in that, and they put a lot of work in and a lot of late hours putting their poll together. That had to be incredibly frustrating for those people to hear her say that, to treat it like it's a joke.
Right. Do you know how the selection goes for who gets a vote?
No. We could ask our buddy Ralph Russo. He ran it for forever.
Yeah.
And if you have any complaints, just send them to Ralph. Even though he's at the Athletic now and not working at the AP anymore, just still complain to Ralph. All right, let's get to my winner and loser. For my winner of the week, give me the Big 12 Conference. I like a lot of the things that Brett Yormark has done. I respect his willingness to try things and see what works and what doesn't, Ted.
Yeah.
But he just may have changed college football with something he did this week. And we've seen it before in the past, but a Big 12 officiating crew has been pulled off their game this Friday because of a mistake they made in Kansas, Missouri last weekend. And it was an interesting mistake. Like, Missouri scores a touchdown. They get an unsportsmanlike conduct on that play, and it's being assessed on the kickoff. So they're having to kick from the 20, and the referees allowed them to punt that.
I did not understand why they did that. This isn't an uncommon thing.
Because they don't know the rules. And you cannot have referees not knowing the rules. So the Big 12 did what they had to do, and they suspended those guys. Listen, judgment calls are one thing, like a PI or not PI. You're never going to get suspended for that. But for stuff like this, if you're a referee, you better know the rules. And if you don't and you mess up, you are going to pay a price for it. And so I thought this was a really good move by Brett Yormark, and their chief of competition, Scott Draper, came out and said, when the conference's high standard for officiating is not met, the Big 12 will take action. And I love that, because I feel like college football fans for a long time have been wanting officials to be held more accountable for what happens in games. And especially a mistake like this. Like, if you give a team a 5th down, you get suspended now. If you let a team punt a kickoff when it has to go on a tee, by rule, you get suspended. You better be on it. And I like that, man. And I think from everything, all the reaction I've seen is the Big 12 is receiving essentially universal praise for doing this.
Yeah.
And I think other conferences may view it and go, huh. So we can just, if they really mess up, we can just tell everyone they really messed up, and people like that. Huh.
Yeah.
It's interesting, man.
Yeah. I mean, people have always asked for consequences whenever there's egregious mistakes made. And I think that's the right thing to do. I still can't understand how they messed that up. Like, that's a straightforward thing. If you don't know, get on that little mic and call up to the box and be like, hey, give me a quick reminder here. They're asking to punt on this. Can we do that? Yes or no? Flip through the book if you don't have the answer. Take a second and get that right. Don't just be like, yeah, punt it. No big deal. Like I said, not an uncommon thing. I mean, people kick off backed up all the time. So it's strange that they even got there.
You can punt it after a safety. You cannot punt it after you score a touchdown and you get backed up to the 20 because you got an unsportsmanlike conduct on the touchdown.
Or to start the game if you have a pregame or like however that may take place. Yeah, strange.
So being a referee is really, really difficult.
And it's getting more difficult. They don't take rules away. They add things that you have to legislate over and over. Every year there's more things they add to it.
And I'm not saying being an official is easy. Like the judgment calls, PI, holding, like all that stuff. That's really hard. These are big, fast dudes, games moving really fast. It's hard, man. But when you're just talking about
procedure,
the rules, the mechanics, procedure, you better know it. Because I think this is going to become a more common thing now that the Big 12 did this and it was received the way that it was received.
Just now they're going to be known as the crew that was suspended.
Yeah, not fun.
We got the suspended crew this week. Great.
My loser of the week, the SEC office. Doesn't fining Mississippi State $500,000 for storming the field after beating Arizona State just feel wrong? It feels wrong to me.
They should almost get a bonus for knocking off a top 12 team.
Right? That fan base hasn't gotten to experience much joy lately. They didn't win an SEC game all last season. I don't know, Ted, it just feels very steep considering all of the circumstances.
You should get like one free one. Like if you haven't had the opportunity to storm the field in like 20 years, you get a built-in freebie. That should be the fine print down there. There's a time like you get one free field storming every 10 years or something.
I would love to see, like back in Rome, the thumbs up, thumbs down situation.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see them cut to Greg Sankey in some of these situations and he can make the decision. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey,
that'd be great.
Are we going to get fined or not? Thumbs up, you're good to go. Thumbs down, no, don't do it. You're going to get the $500,000 fine. Because if you cut to Sankey live in this situation, Brennan Thompson catches that touchdown late. You're cutting to Sankey. It's double thumbs up, man. All systems go. Get ready to roll.
And it would have been perfect in that situation because Brennan Thompson was doing the "Are you not entertained?" down there in the end zone.
Yeah.
That was, dude, I probably spent an hour watching all the different reactions and clips of that place was so loud. Dude, when I don't know how many people that stadium holds, but when every single person is ringing that cowbell and screaming, it was like cracking the microphones. It was awesome.
If you go winless in conference play the year before, and then you beat a top 15 team early the next season, the conference should look the other way when it comes to the field storming fine.
Or
I get it's the rule, but
only conference games because what do you care what they think,
Yeah. I'm with, like, if you win a big non-conference game at home and you storm the field, uh, who cares about the other team? They're not an SEC team, who cares?
And like, if you ask Dillingham, he's probably like, yeah, of course they should storm the field. They should come storm the practice field every single day for the rest of the year with our football team. We earned that. I feel like he's a guy that calls it how it is, like right away.
Well, they asked him about it. I saw him. He was like, well, it just shows that people have respect for our program now. Which, good point.
Yeah.
I know he's still very upset they lost that game, but good point.
Yep.
I saw in an ESPN article that the conference has discretion to waive the penalty if officials in the opposing team are able to get off the field before fans enter the field. That is never going to happen.
Well,
it's unrealistic. I forgot one school is saying like they're going to put like a 5-minute clock or something like that, and then people could rush the field. Good luck with that. I forget which school it was, but good luck.
Well, it may be realistic if you're a massive underdog and you're playing a top 10 team and you're beating them by 3 touchdowns and the fourth quarter's winding down, the energy's coming, it like that, and the other team is like, okay, let's get these guys out of here as fast as possible. Get off the field. Maybe. 50-yard touchdown as the clock expires coming from behind to win the game. Good luck. Not happening. They were going to pour on as the guy runs into the end zone. There's not a lot you could do about that.
I just think when you consider all of the circumstances, how bad Mississippi State has been, and then the way that they won that game, $500,000 fine feels unnecessary to me. I'm just saying.
Right. Well, and the reason you're fining people is because you don't want the dangerous interactions, right? That's why you're doing it. I say don't punish the entire country and all of college football for a handful of dumb interactions by fans. Punish that fan. Find them. If you're running out there on the field and there's cameras everywhere and you're going to get hit with a $50,000 fine, you're going to get expelled, like whatever the punishment might be, I think people will conduct themselves a little bit differently. But if someone else is paying a $500,000 fine whenever I run on the field, what do I care? That's how people are going to view it. So I don't know.
If you want people to comply, go after their money.
Bring the hammer.
Birthday shout outs. Happy 12th birthday to Carson Britton.
Happy 12th birthday to Jack Anderson.
Happy 25th birthday to Bryce Terronez. Terronez?
I think
Terronez.
Happy 49th birthday to Chris Dirty Duke.
And happy birthday to Kendall and Lakin Bacon. On that note, episode 562 in the books. We'll have a new In the Weeds on keys to victory for OU against Temple that'll drop tomorrow at 11 a.m. on our YouTube channel. And then, of course, we'll have our recap episode on Sunday. Just a reminder, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you check out our website, okbreakdown.com. And on that, until next time, we appreciate all for listening. Oh, have a great weekend. If anyone's making the trip, have a safe trip.
Yeah.
It's a long trip. Have a safe trip.
Take care of each other up there.
Yeah. Until next time, we appreciate y'all for listening. Do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.